call me on my cell phone. You guys gonna watch SummerSlam tomorrow?
What's that again?
Wrestling?
No.
You get it. You get all the pay-per-views with your Peacock subscription, Jared.
I mean, I just don't watch any of it.
Well, I only watch the pay-per-views, so I kind of got to piece together what happens in all the other weeks of the year. But I still enjoy it.
Hmm. Nah, I don't think I will.
Missing out, man. SummerSlam's one of the big four.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
But it's almost like,
Oh no.
I mean, I know it's entertaining or whatever, but I just don't care. It never really excited me. Like, even the video games never really excited me.
What about like The Rock and Stone Cold?
I mean, that stuff's cool. But
I mean, you're not acting like it's very cool, Jared. I'm just saying that.
Like, yeah, his entrance stuff is cool, but it's just like, it's just theatrics. I know what it is.
I was always more of a Triple H guy myself. So
yeah. Yeah. I whether like try to finish these shows I'm watching. Like, I think we
what
just got
shows
like
are you watching?
we only have like a few, maybe like 10-ish episodes left of Fringe, and we're done with that. And then I think we're gonna start Stranger Things.
You never watched Stranger Things?
No.
Nope.
The fuck's wrong with you guys? Oh, what the heck's wrong with you guys?
I don't know. Just
It's well established why I don't watch these shows, so I'm more surprised about Jared.
Like 100% like honest, watch like season 1 and season 2 and then take a break. Don't watch season 3 right after this, because season 3 is kind of lame.
Ryan, where's the Zencaster?
Oh, I haven't done that yet. I'm still
Hmm.
doing my other stuff here.
Yeah, I was looking for it. I'm like, am I missing something? I don't know.
Posting our links in all my Discords.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know why I never really watched it. Probably just one of those things that like it was too popular when it first came out, and I was just busy watching something else.
Right.
Playing Destiny.
For it. I get it.
I have to play my favorite game that I hate so much, so it's hard to do something else.
Yeah. I get that. I'm one triumph away from going back to Mass Effect.
Oh,
Which one do you need?
I need to play 17 more games of Gambit. Or
I need 11.
yeah. Yep. Oh, I'm Gilded Flamekeeper already.
I'm going to try to do that in the morning. I think I want to hop on and either bang out like the rest of the Shattered, the Witch Queen location that I can't think of the name of right now.
Gumshoe?
Nope. Savathun's Throne World.
The Throne World?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
No. I need like the Throne World, public events, all that foolishness.
I did all that in the Throne World. Public events, patrols, all that. I just did that in there.
That's what I started. I knocked like half of it out last night. So.
Oh no, I've gotten back into LFG and dungeons and raids.
And I really need to do this, the challenge this week. Like, desperately need to do the challenge.
Be nice if we had a squad.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Let's probably look up at Raid.
Oh man. Okay, I can see my squiggly. There.
I know my kids are gonna come out here right in the middle of this.
Yeah.
So if I disappear, listen, I got a way to prevent sleep now. Unfortunately, that way won't be here until Monday or Tuesday.
Was it the Zquill?
Is it what?
Wait, did you say prevent sleep?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my OG group today, we cleared Val in 46 minutes.
Dang. That's fast.
Yeah.
What strat you guys
that's
use
getting through
on
it.
the boss?
What strats? We did somebody with div at their feet. It ran around in a circle in the boss's feet. Kept him in one spot. And then like DPS supers.
Okay.
Did like Phonomite stacked with high energy fire. All that kind of stuff. Everybody Storm Tracer. Izzy switch. Izzy hotspot switch.
Okay. So you had storm chasers with auto loading?
No. Not everybody
No.
had auto loading. No. I didn't have
Okay.
it.
Bunch of sweat hordes, sounds like.
It was. We 2 forward caretaker also. Like we did so much damage on first plate, we like barely touched it with primary on the second plate. Then like 2 forward easy.
Yeah, because you get a bunch of time on the third plate.
Yep. And then we farmed the boss with spoils, so I'm like back over 100 spoils finally. But
All right. You guys ready to let the dogs out?
Oh, I'm gonna be floundering on the Rushmore stuff, but we'll get there.
Got plenty of time. Do it while Chad's doing his lore part.
Oh yeah, that'll work.
yeah.
Jared, you good? Did he shake his head or something?
Yes. Good.
Okay. Eyes up, Guardians. We are live for episode 71 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is Friday, July 29th, 2022, and this is Rip Van Winkle. Oh, sorry. The Destiny bad boy, NotRyanFox, here with my fire team, who all of you CCBs know by now. Jared.
Oh, yeah. Crazy week for me this week. COVID finally got to me. And luckily Chad was able to push his podcast a day to help me recover and try to get out of the COVID fog. But, you know, it's not the COVID podcast for me, but, you know, it's the closest thing to a flu game I'm going to get.
And the chronicler himself, Chadocero.
Jared and I had our private chat going. He's like, "Look, I'm gonna need you to come up with an excuse to push it to Friday," and I said, "I got you, dog," and we made it happen.
And remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, that you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, click the bell, turn on notifications, yada, yada, yada. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us a bunch of friend requests so we can play together. The links for all of ours will be in the description of the podcast here. Jared is going to tell us all about Cosmos TWAB this week. But before we get to that, let's listen to our intro music brought to you by everybody's favorite Link, who you can find on Twitter at LinkOfTimeG.
All right, hello, Guardians. It is week 2 of Solstice, so that means by the time you're probably hearing this podcast, you probably just have 8 or 9 days left of grinding to do to get that Flame Maker title and gild it. So make sure you do enough challenges, and maybe you just want to do just a few to get the special event title, which is going to be including 3 other events to get it done. I think it's called the Reverie or something like that. So just make sure you get those challenges done in the next few days. Like 8 days to round that out. So the first thing up in the TWAB is that the raid date is set for next season. The raid will go live 10 a.m. Pacific on August the 26th, and that is a Friday. So that Tuesday, the 23rd, they unveil the new season and the showcase and everything else that goes on. So, I mean, probably an hour after that or so, that's, it's going to be live in season, and you better be gaming hard for those 3 days to unlock all your seasonal artifact mods and get all the new weapons and maybe mod system they put out there and ready to go for that first raid, because if you're not grinding out those days, you're going to be behind for that day 1 race. So what do you need to be to go into that day 1 race? 1560 power will get you through all the encounters, and then clearing the contest mode on the first run through of the raid unlocks challenge mode, and then clearing the challenge mode is how you get world's first and most likely get the emblem and everything else that goes along with that. So so that's what you need to do. So how y'all feeling about Bungie's decision to put a raid back on during the week and not on a Saturday, unlike like the last 3?
Well, I have vacation scheduled the week before, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to fake an illness to get off work for Friday, I guess, or I'm just gonna miss out and maybe team up with you guys Saturday or something and kind of see what it's looking like once contest mode is over. I don't know. Our other 3, some of our other people have kind of really fallen off here this season, so I don't know. I don't know what we'll do anyway as far as team composition goes.
Yeah, I mean, there was a tweet, I believe it was a tweet that went out, one of the Bungie devs, that said that the reason that they switched it, or not the reason that they switched it, but one of the positives of them switching it to a Friday is because, like everyone else, they also work Monday through Friday, so they will actually be there, the whole team, to actively do stuff. Now, whether or not Ryan's face is telling me how he feels, I mean, it's true. There are going to be people in the office that day, but I mean, don't they do that on the Saturday of the raid day? They have the raid team there, right? To
just
help
just take the next Monday off. Come in, work Saturday, take the next Monday off.
Yeah.
Give them Monday and Tuesday off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really? I mean, there's ways around that. That's a very soft response. If that's really what it is, that is soft, and it falls right in line with a bunch of the other soft stuff that Bungie's been doing that we'll discuss later on.
So this is my issue with that response from Hippie. I think she used to want to put it on Twitter. Is that whenever you have customers that want something to happen on a day, usually the people that's supplying to the customers care about them more than their workers. For the most part, that is the way the world works with people paying for a product. However, this raid is free. So that's my line I'm drawing here. Since this is a free-to-play raid, I'm okay with it being on a Friday. But when it comes to the expansion raid, that better be on Saturday.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Free to play or not, this Bungie gets twice a year that they're in the spotlight. Really, we'll say 3 times: day of new Destiny expansion, and then the 2 raid races. So, and then they're gonna I don't know. It's like shooting yourself in the foot because, God forbid, you have to come in and work on a Saturday. I have zero sympathy for somebody having to come in and work on a Saturday, whenever they could give them off the Monday before or the Monday after, or comp them, make it overtime so it's double. They get double time. Well, I mean, Lord knows they're going to get enough money to to be able to do it.
Well, we'll see how the numbers turn out. I guess the numbers are going to be way less than the last 3 raids have been for day 1 attempts. So, there it is. So, good luck to everyone entering. It looks to be, for us, most likely we'll get a tackle at it on Saturday, late Saturday. But
yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, realistically, we would probably get the day 1 clear of the normal mode, but we wouldn't finish challenge mode, so we wouldn't get the emblem anyway. So it doesn't bother me too much. As long as I get a week 1 clear or 3, I'll be all right. And we won't really have to learn mechanics. I mean, I'm sure the mechanics will be slightly modified from the D1 versions, but that's that should make a pretty nice little Saturday, I would say.
Yeah. All right, so I guess you know about a month in advance. So if you have to get time off, maybe you can. All right. Next thing up is another highly debated topic, and that's going to be skill-based matchmaking and how stuff comes together in the Crucible. So before they kind of want to set some ground rules here let's talk about skill and connection. And Chad, can you go ahead and take us through that?
Skill and connection. Oh boy. So they were talking about the reason that they're making these changes, and they gave us a really good bullet point list. So we're just going to go through that. First one, it says that they're striving towards a goal that all players, including new lights, specifically the new lights, can enter the Crucible and regularly get matches where they can feel competitive and has a reasonable chance of winning and competing. The next, that's making fair matches using skill-based matchmaking is going to be important to help meet that goal. They're stating by implementing loose SBMM to the control playlist at the start of Season 18. Loose SBMM has a wider starting skill similarity than Survival and should result in matching with a wider variety of players, while also eliminating some of the frustrations they see in the current system. So they expect loose SBMM to expand to other playlists in future seasons as they tune it by gathering real data and feedback throughout this season. They're not planning to add it into every Matchmaking Crucible playlist. They're going to continue to tune it until they figure out a good balance on it. And then they're going to report their tunings and stuff that they're doing probably through the TWAB or through another real quick post that they do. And then they say they will be implementing a form of fire team size preferred matchmaking in Season 19. Now, the most important part that Jared and I did get into in the beginning was the including new lights portion of it. I think that we had the same thought that it is very important that real newbies don't get absolutely curb stomped in their first couple of games of Crucible, because not a lot of people want to come back after that. Some people want to get back in there, some people won't. And if you have a game that's close, a couple games that are close, or a game that you lost by a little bit but not like a mercy, you'll go back in. But it could really discourage a lot of people because they don't have any meta guns, they don't have any meta builds, they don't have anything at all whatsoever. So it can be very discouraging for those newbies to get in there and just not know left from right and just be getting absolutely destroyed in there. I know that even if they come from another shooter, they'll be doing okay, but they won't have the amount of guns and options that we have as people that have been playing for a long time. So that can make a difference, and it is very sad when you just feel like I just started this game and I can't even play against other people for I don't know how long.
Yeah, that happens very easily.
What happens when you feel that way and you've been playing the game for 7 years?
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, you stick to it, don't you?
It depends. There's sometimes like I can sit and play Iron Banner for 18 or 20 matches in one sitting. And there's other times that I don't think you could give me $100 to sit and play 10 matches of Crucible.
Yeah, definitely times where it's frustrating, and Bungie's trying to create more high quality matches, so that gets it to a place where like everybody wants to, no matter your skill level, should feel competitive, and then no matter if you're on a solo or a fire team, you should be able to play matches and still have a chance at winning and competing, and then players should be rewarded based on skill and be proud of their skill, and then reserve a place for players who do not want to engage in a skill system. So those last 2 points there, they counteract each other. Like, how can you possibly have a place in system where your skill is rewarded, however you don't have a place where to engage in the skill system? You can't have both of those at the same time.
I think what they're trying to say, you might remember from Halo 3, that's kind of the first Halo I remember you playing very much online. Remember like Social Slayer that was on there? And like it wasn't like skill based really. It was just kind of like a hodgepodge of things, but you still had like a rank that was going up.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like you would still get rewards and all that stuff, but it's just kind of like a chiller place.
So just to say hypothetically, my lobby is like a 1.5 KD lobby, right? This is just a general term. What's the reward difference for that lobby based on to a 0.7 KD lobby?
Why does it matter? Why does it have to be different?
Well,
if they call it Social Slayer or something, Social Crucible, that just people that are just going in just to try out a new build or do this. I know that you're still going to get the sweat lords that come in to try to farm their KD, but do something in the API to where KD and that doesn't go to your overall KD. And even like on these Crucible tracker and trial tracker and all that stuff, it doesn't add to it on there. It doesn't affect ELO. Like there's none of that on there. Just make it to where literally it's just for people to go, say you got a sidearm, say you got a weapon that has the new perk for the season on it and you want to see how that plays. Like that would be where you would go and you don't have to worry about all the other stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, granted, I put a lot of caveats that was not in that list onto that, but I hope that is what that grows into.
All right. I understand where you're coming from.
Do you remember I think action sack and like grab bag and all that stuff and infection and Fiesta Slayer, like those type of things. That's kind of what this needs, in my opinion. But imagine Fiesta, but every time that you spawn, it pulls a weapon out of your vault. It pulls 3 weapons out of your vault.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that be cool?
That would be hard. Just, but I think the easiest thing to do would be like a exotic Fiesta,
players,
where like you spawn in with a random exotic.
Yeah, and even if you
unlimited
don't,
ammo.
even if you don't have the exotic unlocked, you can still spawn
exactly.
in.
Yeah. It doesn't give it
class.
to you.
If you don't have Vex Mythic class, that would be sweet.
People would be playing that because you'd be like, no way I can play with it.
You know what? Give us 3 exotics, an exotic in every slot. What does it really matter?
Yeah.
Like, that's the stuff that I would be like. They're like they dabbled in mayhem, like supers and stuff, and then I don't remember if this was something I read in a leak or something that I read in a TWAB, but they're having the like guns only playlist that comes out next season or the season after. There's like no abilities, no supers. So like that's coming, so like that kind of stuff would be like, I would do that every time over like Control or Clash or comp, all that stuff would be way more interesting.
Yeah. All right. Next we'll go into like what makes up a game. So really the big bulk that makes up a game is connection quality, and that's broken into 2 different ways. That's connection to the game server and then connection to players in the match. And then Destiny is built on player-to-player connection. So that means there's a host in the lobby, and they have an amazing connection to everyone except for. Then it just goes on how close they are to that person's connection. So there's times if you're in a fire team, so us three together, me and Fox are East Coast, Chad's West Coast. Some lobbies it's gonna feel way better for me and Fox than Chad. But that's a simple one. Like, what if you had somebody in the United States, somebody in Japan, and then somebody in Europe,
Canada.
Yep, same thing.
The Great North.
Exactly. So that's if you're in a fire team like that, only one of the three is going to have a good connection, most likely, to the game.
And I mean, this is. I think I've been thinking too much about our Mount Rushmore coming up, but Bungie should have known better. It should not have been peer to peer when this game came out.
Well, they didn't have money to dedicate servers.
Shut up. You and I both know that's not true. They got a lot of money whenever they released Destiny 1.5. Whenever this game came out in vanilla, they had, and then it took them 2 years to make it back to all that. They had plenty of money for dedicated servers. They should have known better. They did know better, but they did not. We got to remember, this game was supposed to die in 19. This game's been out 3 years longer than they anticipated, because it was supposed to be like major release or like release, expansion, new game. So a lot of those decisions they made whenever they would have been pre-planning this game in like 2015 or is what they're battling against now in 2022. So.
All right. Next thing is up. It's like actually finding a game to play. Bungie absolutely does not want anybody waiting 10 minutes. The main goal here is around 2 minutes or so, maybe to 5 minutes, to find a game that's a quality game. So that's what their intentions here.
What's the longest you guys have ever waited for a game?
Never that long, because I never really timed it. And if I did, I just re-queued and got right in.
Yep. And it would be like if you were trying to queue in with like 3 people into like a 4-person playlist or something, would be like the only time. Yeah. I can't remember any time being like, man, this is taking forever. Like, I've never even had that thought. So I don't know. Maybe we're the minority.
Yeah. All right. The next topic here is skill. And this is what Bungie has as they define as skill. And with this term that's thrown out here a lot, it's talked about the bell curve. So this is ranked. This is a system. So internally, your skill level goes off kills, death, captures, round wins, revives, dunks, stuff like that. Stuff that you can measure how you interacted in the match. But some things in your skill can't be measured, about how fast you move or your agility to get around into the map and holding down lanes. Sometimes does not completely translate into your skill level, because those things can't be measured with ones and zeros. So they have it in the TWAB here, so you can see the bell curve. It looks like dead middle of the bell curve is around 100 skill level. That means, and you can go into the negative. So just keep that in mind about if we're going to talk about what Bungie thinks of whenever people of different skill levels go up against each other. So if someone is 200 skill level above you, you can definitely tell that they're better than you, and they win about 75% of engagements against you. By the time someone gets to a difference of 400 in the skill level, better players win about 90% of the engagements against the lower skilled player. And then once you get to a difference of 600, there's basically zero chance for a lower skilled player to win a 1v1. So it looks like it maxes out at 1,000 here, and that means majority of the population is at 100. And knowing that 600 is a difference, man, that top top percentage of the community is pretty thick there at the top of that bell curve. When you talk about the amount of people there that is that much better than the average player, that they just have no shot at ever taking them out.
Yep. Like the gap from like 50 or from like 75 to 275 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot. There's a lot of people 275 and greater. Like a whole lot of people.
Yep. All right. So, of course, like this is a problem about how many people are interacting with each other as they play in Crucible. So when they look at games, they're looking at mercy rates, and like mercy rates are really high, pretty high right now because of the lobbies are so unbalanced from each other. There's like a couple high skill players are just gonna just tilt it up in a way they just can't make a quality match whatsoever when they go to pick the teams. So that's kind of the reason they're doing this soft SPM. That way that they can actually balance the teams in a better way to have more quality matches. That's the kind of goal here. So Chad already talked about it. So starting in season 18, they're gonna have the loose skill-based matchmaking in control, and then like elimination and glory playlist is going to remain the same as it is now. And then in season 19, you're gonna have some fire team balancing. So Bungie's going to keep a close eye on this, and these are some of the things we're going to look at as they tune this. So matchmaking time, we talked about this. They want the average under 2 minutes. Mercy games, they want them to be at less than a 5% rate. At right now, they have been as high as 25% rate. So a quarter of your games ending in mercies is not a good thing. They want the final score to be what happens majority of the time. They want a team hitting. The goal is that over 80% of the matches wins by a team hitting the final kill count. And then they want less variance between the top and bottom player. Right now, 5 to 10 matches have the best player scoring between 30 and 39 more kills than the worst player in the match. And 50% of the matches having the best players score 20 to 29 more kills. They believe they want 90% of matches to have less than a 20 kill difference between the best and worst players. And 50% should have no more than a 10 kill difference. So they really want like everybody to equally perform inside of this. All right. Next thing is kind of like talking about skill windows. So they're kind of just be clustering people together as a search. So like if you look at that bell curve, like if you're an 800 player, you have very few players that's around you to go play against, right? So that parameter of who you can match with will go out a little bit faster than if you're like a minus 100 player. If you're a minus 100 player, you're going to find a match very easily, and more likely those people are going to be very close to your skill level. So this is one of the issues that I see for coming to this, is that whenever you get the players that's just like kind of good, that can keep a 1.0 that might shave up into the 1.2, they are going to be getting into these people's lobbies that have 2.5s and 3.5s that are just like the gilded, flawless sweat lords. I think that that part of the community is going to enjoy PvP way less this next season. All right. So I talked a lot there, and I skipped over some stuff that they got really deep into some things in PvP. So overall, you should have a more quality match next season, but be prepared that if you're on that kind of top end player, but you can't just go flawless any weekend, you might be getting eat up by a lot more bigger sharks in PvP. or everybody that's the Sweat Lords are gonna go play the game as connection-based matchmaking, and not control.
That's all we can hope for. So moving on from that, Jared, do you have anything else you wanted to add to that section?
No.
All right. So I was checking my email earlier in the week and saw that I had an email from Bungie. I have them set up as a VIP on the old iPhone, and came in and I got something to be able to vote on the trials map. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Why aren't we able, if we're able to do this, why can't we vote on a map before the match? Remember that in like Halo, was that Halo 3 or Halo Reach? You could vote on maps before. Wouldn't that be cool if, you could do that? Anyways,
Okay.
So I voted. Go ahead. Sorry.
Wouldn't it be cool if you actually just sit in the lobby with the roster, and you could talk back and forth to the people in the lobby, like in the OG Halo and Call of Duty days?
You mean like 2004?
Yeah.
When we could do that?
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. But I voted for Widow's Court, which got second place. It is Eternity. I thought everybody hated Eternity, but apparently they don't hate it as much as the other two maps.
I voted for it specifically because I thought people hated it.
So Eternity got 39% of the vote. Widow's Court got 31. Rusted Lands got 30. To me, this is kind of like choosing between a turd and a turd sandwich with these three maps. So I wasn't particularly excited for any of them. So enough people voted. Now we can all get a free emblem from the Bungie rewards. It looks like after the August 2nd, so next Tuesday after that.
Good job to the community. Next, that brings us to our 3 likes and dislikes from the week. As you know, as you go through the Solstice stuff, you gotta play some Gambit or PvP. I chose to play some Gambit, and it's also double Gambit rewards week, so you just get extra Gambit rep. And my like is the Deadweight shotgun from Gambit, and then pellet shotguns on top of that. Also just got the extra bonus damage. So had one with Vorpal, and man, it just felt really good with just going up like 3, maybe 4 slugs on just like any yellow bar, and it deletes it. So I very much liking that shotgun.
My like is the Cataclysmic, the one-year fusion rifle from the Disciple raid. Whenever you craft it, if you throw that Gambit Memento shader on it, which gives it like a green, scaly, kind of like shimmering shader, at level 30, once you get that gun to level 30, you can equip that shader, assuming that you have the Gambit Memento on there. It looks really cool. So that's my like this week.
My like, I don't think it's actually been said because we're very iffy on it. But I like that you can pick stats, not for the Solstice armor, but not for me, but for the people that don't have high stat armor. So they can focus on their main character and get that done throughout the whole event and have a solid set of armor. I'm also assuming that these people don't do dungeons really. They don't have a squad to do to Grandmasters or do any other really major content that you can get like 60 plus drops easily in. But this lets you get like an actual solid build put together, and you can pick it. It's not hoping for the luck of the draw or getting Artifice armor to kind of like just, Artifice armor is good. So having that extra slot's excellent. Now moving on to dislikes. I think we've mentioned it a little bit again, but I very much dislike that they did not pull forward the decrease in time needed per characters for Solstice. I'm only doing one character. I think I've said it before, but playing through, I still haven't finished my Titan. I haven't been very dedicated as I have been past events, and that the main reason is because it doesn't speed up my Warlock and Hunter. I would love to have this armor for my Warlock and my Hunter because I don't play them as much, but I'm not gonna do it because it's too much of a grind for me to really care to add that armor set to their repertoire. I can do dungeons with those other characters and hopefully get some good artifice armor, but it's not worth my personal time.
My dislike is actually, I want to throw one more like in here. I want to cheat. Did you guys notice any sort of performance increase in the tower on your rigs?
I haven't really paid attention.
No. I mean, it doesn't do the menu thing very much anymore to me.
Yeah. I think they like stealth did something for like PC. Anyways, my dislike is I still have, I think, 11 or 12 matches of Crucible or Gambit to play. I still have 5 public events to do. God knows how many blind wells, and I still have 4 sever missions to do. So yeah, man, I can't wait to get in there and do all that. The event, the stoking the bonfire event, not bad. I prefer it actually over the kill a bunch of stuff and then run around and try to find secret chests. I much prefer this because it's faster. But we just got to put that other foolishness with it to just really drag it out. So I feel like I'm back in Guardian games. I thought like Guardian games was always the one that had like the grindy stuff on it that I didn't like, but they brought it right to Solstice as well.
Yeah.
It was Solstice first, and then Solstice got the progression bump, and then it moved to Guardian games after that.
Dark Ace is in chat. He's getting stuck at 40 frames per second. Have you reset to fix it? I guess that's in response to you, Fox.
He's like capped at 40 frames a second.
I think that's why he's in the tower. I guess he's getting hit at 40.
Wow. So before, now I do have a 3080. So before, like everywhere in the game, I would run at like 117 frames a second, just because I have it capped in the NVIDIA settings. Because my television that I play on, the LG the C10, it's 120 frames per second monitor. So I run it at 117. And the only place there would be like 2 or 3 places I knew that I would always drop. And one of those was in the tower, like the main part of the tower. I would occasionally drop down to 90s, like whenever I ran over towards like Eva Levante and the Cryptarch, and over by Zavala. Like those are the 3 places that I would drop into the 90s. And like, I don't even want to call it stutter. It's just for whatever reason, the tower wasn't optimized very well. But I noticed, and I don't know if it's because it's, like the tower has like the facelift on it with like the grass and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, I'm like holding a steady 117 there.
Okay. He says no, it's like a solid 40, won't move up or down, completely locked. So, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you don't have any like I don't know what any of your specifics, but make sure you don't have like a driver or a firmware update or something that you need to download.
All right, my dislike is the Gambit Invader tracker trait that you get on the Gambit guns. It's just useless everywhere else in the game except for Gambit. They need some kind of update to that trait where it just like it does something at some other part of the game. I don't know if it highlights a high priority type, like maybe like champions now you can like they just glow red whenever they get agitated or something. I don't know. Like,
that'd be cool.
Like, just give it something else.
What if like anything that was like an orange bar or higher, like a major or a champion, it like did the outline around or something, so you would know where they were? That'd be pretty nifty.
Yeah, I mean, it's not game breaking even PvE because you know they're there, right? Like after you run something once,
it pops up.
Yeah,
pops up on there and tells you that they're there.
Yeah. All right, Fox. Next up is the gambling corner.
All right, so gambling corner. This is going to seem like it's not true, but I promise you that is true. So current standings in our gambling corner, which if you are new to the podcast, gambling corner is something that we do each week, and we talk to our buddy Mr. Vegas, who sets lines for us, and then we start the season with 10,000 Glimmer. and then whatever the gamble is that week, we have to bet in increments of like at least 500, with a minimum bet of 1,000. We have to bet and see, and then what the odds are is how it pays out. We track it throughout the season. If you ever go bankrupt, you have to offer up a weapon out of your vault to the other two people, and then we the other two people get together, decide like, hey, this weapon is worth 7,000 glimmer, and then you have to delete that weapon, and then you have to buy back into the game that way. Last season or the season before, one of us got out real far ahead, and they were able to cash in their glimmer in order to punish the other two players. So I believe it was a gambit punishment, and the person that cashed in, I think they cashed in 20,000 glimmer per player, so 40,000 total, and then they were able to pick the loadout for the other two players, and they had to play 2 hours of gambit. So current standings, Chad has 9,300 glimmer, Jared has 17,700 glimmer, I have 21,500 glimmer. This week we just did an ante as far, so everybody had to throw in 2,000 glimmer, and whoever got the most fan the flames in the bonfire event took all the money. So Jared, do you want to tell us how many fan the flames that you got this week since the last podcast recording? What was the most you got in one round?
Yep. So last week, I complained about people I wouldn't stay in the quadrant of the EAZ and just kill the bosses and then take the ball and throw it. I was the toxic person who ran around and killed mine and then tried to snag other balls and throw it into the bonfire. And I got up to 12.
On your sparrow.
Yep, I definitely did that.
Yeah.
And I got to 12. That's what I got to.
Yeah. So I got lucky in one game. One of my players, they lagged out towards the end. So from the time the second time the Taken come in at like 14 or 15 Stokes or whatever, that person left the lobby. So I was able to also get to 12 myself, and I thought, man, I'm lucky. I'm gonna win this by like 1. That's kind of what I thought, but unfortunately, I tied with Jared.
And for me, I didn't get lucky enough to have somebody lag out. But I did have, so I stuck to like the front left and then moved up and down on that side. Because the middle would move right and mid sometimes. And sometimes I'd snag that middle one. But I don't know if I was a monster compared to these guys, but like my guy would die on the way down out of a ship or something. I'd grab that thing, start running literally directly towards the next target, turn, chuck my ball, hit the bonfire, and then snag the ball from the guy that's dying currently. And then I just kept doing that. And I said this, and I'm not even making it up. Both Jared and Ryan, without telling me how many they got, asked me how many I got. And I didn't explain the whole story, but I told them I hit 12. I was able to get up to 12.
So since we all tied, I think we just roll the money over.
Yep.
And into the next. So what I was thinking, I haven't discussed this with you guys. What if we do, it has to be a condensate armor piece, and who can get the highest overall stat roll? Now, we can either do overall stat roll or the highest in one category. However you want to do it, not masterwork, no mods, just like that empty piece of armor. Would you guys rather do overall number or number in one, like resilience or strength or whatever?
Do I have to get new armor, or is it one I already have?
We can do any. We can do
next
as long as it's a condensate. As long as it's a condensate armor piece.
Okay.
Then that's fine.
Because I don't want to play any more of it. So
Yeah, I understand that.
yeah, just overall stat roll, just the highest number.
Overall,
Yeah.
highest number.
Yeah.
All right.
That's totally fine.
So we'll do 2,000 more, or a total of 4,000 of an ante in,
Yep.
and the highest overall contestant stat roll winner takes all. So they'll get their 4,000 back plus another 8,000, which could really turn the tide.
Yep.
Really turn the tide of the show here. And I think that takes us to the lore section, I believe, right? Did I miss anything?
No, that's it.
All right.
I'm not used to that kind of intro, but Ryan's doing it, so let's get it. So we're gonna talk about the lore book Voices of the Haunted. It's gonna be split into 2 parts. But it's the main lore book that was dropping throughout the season stuff. So we're gonna talk about it and get into it right here. The first book, Temperament. Crow drops a wet canteen at Eris Morn's feet. Water. You made your return quickly. Eris crouches, hunched over bundled splits of pine arranged atop a thick log and resin-rubbed moss. She strikes a well-worn flint with her knife and a flame ignites. You're not hard to spot at night. Crow averts his gaze from Eris's sideways glare and looks up at the haunting glow of the dark shard of the traveler. Shivers convulse down his vertebrae, and his eyes drop to the freshly popping wood. Eris breaks the silence. Why do you volunteer for the severance operation? For most operations. To make a difference where others can't. Same as you. She shakes her head. No, Eris mumbles. Crow watches her deftly coax the fire, considered the answer he'd given. He looks up to the distant tree line and changes the subject. There are still a good number of hive here, but no nightmares, Eris remarks. Is that why you brought me here? This isn't a place I want to revisit. Crow steps back from the growing flames. When Eris doesn't respond, he asks his real question. Why did I fail? You didn't fail. Our strategy was flawed. Eris stands, stowing flint and blade, then steps in front of him to meet his gaze. We will attempt the severance again. Soon. Yeah, Crow replies in a clipped tone. Eris tilts her head and can see the green orb narrow beneath her blindfold. She points to the ragged mountainous shard twisting in twilight royal. Even the toxic piece separate from the traveler's purity can be wielded for good. The fire roars. He kneels to break her stare and warms his hands. I know what it can do. I used it. When the Red War left Guardians lightless, there were some who reclaimed their callings here. They reforged their bond to the traveler through a scar, a lingering trauma, she continues. Eris sits beside Crow and drinks from her canteen. Crow braces for her to continue, but she does not. The bundle of burning kindling collapses into a heap of cinders, flames spit between the gaps, and ash drifts on heated air. I'll get more wood, Crow says, hastening to step out of the fire's glow. Crow, small fires like this kept me alive in the Hellmouth. I do not have the luxury of more wood. Eris grips the piece of rusty rebar taken from the sludge and thrusts it into the sputtering fire. She stirs the cindering wood, opening new gaps and concentrating the larger pieces over a pile of glowing kindling. The flame surges and heat intensifies. During these long nights, we must make use of what is available to us. She knows he understands her, but hasn't accepted the lesson. She hands him the bar, shows him how to maintain the fire's heat, how to find worth in remnants, how to rebuild from ash. The pair converse as they take turns keeping the fire alive long into the night. The warmth soothes, their shoulders lighten, and Crow pulls back his hood. When the fire finally dies, Eris gestures to the embers. Now you can fetch me some wood. Crow smiles and gets to his feet. Eris, did you ever truly get your light back? The past is not for dwelling. Crow nods and sticks out his hand. She took it inquisitively. Come on. Eris stands next to Crow. He clasps her palm and ignites a golden gun between their hands. Solar flame dances across Eris's fingers. Crow guides her arm and lifts the gun to the sky. He inhales sharply and howls before cracking a shot through the clouds. You're up, Hunter. Eris depresses the trigger, slowly doubtful it would fire. A second solar streak pierces the atmosphere. Crow laughs. They send round after round skyward, howling pent tension into the night until finally, even Eris finds herself smiling. Then on to book 2, we move on to Keitel in Death and Desertion. How many, Tarun? Keitel asks wearily. An air of palpable tension permeates the room. In the time since the Imperial fleet had formed a blockade around the Leviathan, 3 separate frigates had defected to Callus's side. A 4th has just followed suit. Keitel began the campaign with fire in her heart, and now she feels only cold and tired. A total of 250 soldiers, Empress, Taurun answers. We must strike. Kaurug shouts suddenly, slamming his fist on the table. Anything less will be seen as a sign of weakness. A clamor ripples through the rest of Keitel's advisors. Only Valis Forge remains silent. Inaction is anathema, says Thar Arek. Our warriors long for the glory of battle, not the dormancy of a blockade. Even if it means fighting for Callus, sneers Kaur Arug. He spits the name as if it were made of bile. A bitter fury builds in Keitel towards her father. He had ushered in an era of decadence that left the Cabal military dull and complacent. She had sought to be a different kind of leader, but her people remain adrift, this time among the stars. Perhaps her defectors prefer the pleasure of certain death over the agony of uncertain survival. Or perhaps she is merely the next in line to lead the Empire to ruin. The Leviathan reappeared with no warning. Keitel declares, "We do not know what else lurks beyond our sight. Our blockade may soon see more battle than we bargained for. Until then, we hold the line." She speaks in a tone that brooks no argument. Her advisors leave the room, wisely keeping any further misgivings to themselves. Saladin nods to her, as if to say he and he alone agrees with her decision. Keitel can only wonder if she agrees with herself. And then we go into Zavala's office with Book 3, Memento. It's quiet in Zavala's office, save for the sound of clicking as the tiny steel pendulums on his desk swing back and forth, hitting against each other. Rahul once told him that there were Newton's cradle, a pre-Golden Age relic named for one of humanity's greatest scientific minds. The trinket is all that remains of a life's work, lost to time, consumed by collapse and ensuing dark age. Like so many other things, as he stands at the window, brooding in shame and guilt, as he silently contemplates the traveler, Zavala hears a knock on his door. "Come in," he calls over his shoulder. A moment later, Amanda Holliday steps into the room. Dark circles frame her eyes, and her shoulders slump with a weight unseen. No nightmare hovers behind her, hounding her every step, but she seems haunted nonetheless. Zavala is certain that given his own ordeals, he must look much the same. "Hey," Amanda says quietly as she crosses over to his desk. She leans against it and joins him, looking out over the city. They stand in silence for a long time and watch a small fleet of civilian ships weave its way between the buildings. The clicking of pendulums marks the time as it drifts past them. "The last city," Amanda murmurs. "Wish my folks had lived to see it." "As do I," Zavala solemnly replies. "You would have liked them," Amanda says with a sad smile. "As stubborn as they were kind, they gave everything to make sure I reached the city. Bravest people I've ever known." "Devotion inspires bravery," Zavala says, almost absently. He turns from the window and glances at a low shelf where a cracked white mask is displayed under glass. "Bravery inspires sacrifice, and sacrifice," his voice quavers as it trails off, "is worth it for the ones we love," says Amanda. "My parents didn't have the light, but they had me." She meets his eyes, her own filled with light all their own. "We can't live forever, but being remembered, that's the next best thing." Amanda laughs and sniffles at the same time. "Didn't mean to talk your ear off. Sorry about that." "Don't be," Zavala replies with a small smile and sigh of sadness. "I just wish I could return the favor." He moves from the window and leans on the desk next to her, gazing out at the traveler and the last city as they settle into a comfortable silence. The pendulum on his desk continue to click and clack, the echo of a life lived long, long ago. To forgive or forget. "Nick tells me you have a question in need of an answer," Miss Rax begins. "Please sit." Amanda nods as she pulls up a folding chair next to the fire. She hadn't been back to the Elixni quarter since the Vex invasion. The lights from the flames cast flickering shadows across the building's cracked concrete and exposed rebar. Yeah, Amanda says quietly, it's about Saint, sort of. She takes a deep breath before continuing. Everyone in the last city knows the stories. Hell, we used to call him the Kellbreaker, and she stammers, avoiding the name. I've heard that you people used to call him that too. Misrax hums a gruff assent as he settles into his own chair. Amanda wrings her hands together. How did you all forgive him? Her voice sounds small, but her words pierce the cool night air. Not all of us did, Misrax replied solemnly. To this day, there are still some in House Light who avoid him, those who lost loved ones to his rage. Though he would give his life to protect them, nothing he can do will ever erase their pain. So they'll just go on hating him forever? Misrax exhales deeply into his rebreather. One cannot choose who forgives them and who does not, he answers. That is the decision of those who were wronged, a choice each must make for themselves. Amanda nods to herself. Was afraid you'd say something like that, she remarks sadly. As she gets up to leave, she turns to Misrax one last time. What made you forgive Saint? The Kell of Light leans back in his chair and stares into the fire like he's looking for something amid the ashes. Because, he says quietly, I want to be forgiven too. So it's kind of nice to follow Amanda a little bit in her searching here, talking to Zavala and Misrax. These are obviously happening during each story mission. We get these stories. So when Amanda went to Zavala's office, that was right after he failed his first severance. So he's going through a lot at that moment, and she walks in and starts talking to him, just to try to help ease his pain a little bit. And we see in the second book with Keitel that she's starting to have some of the, the moments of doubt and the nightmares creeping up on her. So you can see all that happening, and it would be interesting if I could do this all one after each individual story mission, but doing it all at once gives us kind of a way to look back into the story of the season going forward, and try to pick things out that help us kind of come up with ideas for next season, because they still haven't revealed anything yet. And I have some ideas, but I won't talk about them until, closer to the 23rd.
Yeah, Crow giving up his golden gun was pretty cool. Giving it to Eris to shoot, and it's just like
yeah, that was cool.
How could they work that into a game? Like Hunter pops it super, throws it over to the Warlock, the golden gun or something like that just do something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, he tosses the gun over, and then the hunter pulls the sword out of the ground like Arthur, like King Arthur.
Yeah, then just toss it to my bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. The thing that I know Jared watched Game of Thrones. Chad, did you watch Game of Thrones at all?
Nope.
Okay, so this is not a spoiler at all. But you know how Samuel Tarwell was like George R.R. Martin writing himself into the story. I wish that Amanda as a human, I wish that she be like our insight into I wish they utilized her more to show the wild stuff that these Guardians are doing, because we're doing it as a Guardian ourselves. Our character is also a Guardian, so for us it's what we've known since literally 5 minutes after you start Destiny 1, you probably get your first super to use. So we've had it the whole time, but it would be cool if there was, I don't really know the best way to do it, but it would be cool to see stuff through her eyes, and that would be our proxy as just a normal human that would be in this time, seeing that through her eyes. Or they could do her and Hawthorne if they didn't want to do it through just one person. People that aren't Guardians. I think that would be cool to see. And maybe, since they're sacrificing all the replayability and the stuff to grind for in order for story, maybe that they will do that in the future. Maybe not this year, but maybe in the next couple years. Especially unfortunately, the way that will work out, if they decide to do it, it'll be after we lose our light in Lightfall. We'll have to see what it's like. to be a human. And they kind of did it in that one level in the vanilla campaign, whenever you don't have your light and you gotta go through the last city.
Right after you get chucked off the ship.
Yeah. Like the second mission or whatever. I guess the first mission after the introductory part. So I don't know. I just think that would be cool to see.
All right,
Jared, you want to introduce our? We're not having mailbag this week for the first time in 71 episodes.
that's correct.
So we are replacing it though with kind of a little. It's kind of a variation on something we did before, plus like a hat tip to a sports podcast that Jared and I both listen to. Pardon my take. It's kind of going to be like a Mount Rushmore segment. So I'll let Jared explain it, and then we'll get started.
Yep. So it's called Mount Rushmore. What we're going to do it of is things that trigger us inside of Destiny 2. So could just be interactions, stuff that happened in game, enemies, PvP, like all aspects of Destiny 2. Stuff that just like sends you up a wall. It's like I can't stand, ready to. You slam that W key. You just slam your mouse down. It's like it's anger is what's pulsing through you.
Jared rage quits.
Yes. So the way this happens is Mount Rushmore is 4 presidents again. So we get 4 each, and you can't no overlap. So if I take something, it can't be on Chad or Fox's Mount Rushmore. Now,
we do it in a snake draft format. So like Chad doesn't pick his 4, then I pick my 4, then Jared picks his 4. We do a snake draft, and we got to be careful we don't get lost in the snake. So the order would go like, let's say Chad's first, I'm second, and Jared's third, and then the next round, Jared would be first, I would be second, Chad would be third. So it's kind of like a snake following its tail back around. That's kind of how the order goes. So I personally think that since Chad is the least, the person that's least experienced with Mount Rushmores, that he should get to choose if he wants to go first, second, or third.
Okay.
There's really no difference between it. So Chad, what are you thinking?
Not a lot. After reading Betty by stories to myself, I got a lot, no brain action happening. I'll just go first.
I think you should go first. In my opinion, I think you should go first.
Yeah, I'll go first.
And then,
so who wants to go second?
You get to choose. You get to choose the order.
Ooh. I think the last time we did a snake draft thing, Ryan went last. I think. Let me see if I can.
I think so.
Yeah.
It seems
which
like
let you get which let you get the first double.
Right.
So I'm not gonna let you have that this time. I'm gonna give it to Jared.
Okay.
Because he needs as much brain help as possible on this one.
Yeah. He's got that fog.
Yeah.
That C19 fog.
To NotRyanFox, and then to Jay. Let's see if I can keep track of it.
And a reminder, the topic is things that trigger us inside of Destiny 2.
Yeah. Let's see here. In Destiny 2. Oh my gosh. Now they're starting to like kind of flood in, and I wanna pick one that I'm hoping one of you has.
Okay. You got to get that 1-1, son. You got the 1-1 pick. Yeah. So.
But my personal, like, I could probably save my personal ones because you guys won't have these because it's all luck based. Oh man. Let's see here. See, I'm horrible. I didn't have a chance to think about it during Chad's lore section. He's just such a good storyteller, and I couldn't.
He about put himself to sleep this week.
I think having the dismantle button be like just a hold instead of like a click and then are you sure? Because I've dismantled so many good things by accident just because I'm like mindlessly deleting stuff and being like, that was my God roll I as Luna.
Oh, yeah.
Dang it. Like, it's gone forever.
You getting off your Sparrow Like, you know how you dismantle
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking of like
Yeah.
dismantle. I was like, really?
No, not
You pick
dismount,
one
dismantle
you're just,
weapons of his armor.
you just, yeah. Sorry, man. It's like midnight my time. So,
Yeah, I got you.
all right. So I have first pick. So, the thing is, I know that each of us have our personal ones. So I want to get one that you guys probably have. I have like 16 things listed here on a list because I have spent the majority of the week thinking about things that really trigger me in this game. But I'm going to go 1-1 boss stomp. The boss stomp mechanic, particularly like the enemies that are floating that can still boss stomp, like Hydras, for example. I think that it is a bullcrap that boss stomp exists, and it essentially eliminates what, like a third, maybe 25% of the arsenal you would use. Like, it pretty much eliminates like shotguns that you would use for boss.
Yeah.
You can't, and those type of things. So because of that, boss stomp is going to be my first pick.
All right, that's a good one. That's definitely aggravating to a lot of people in the community. My first pick is going to be when people call something the God roll and it's not a 5 out of 5. Drives me up a wall. I log in Twitter at reset. Sorry, and Bunchy's selling a God roll, and then I look at it and I was like, I mean, the last 2 perks are good, but the barrel's terrible. Don't want the masterwork, and column 2 is trash. That's not a God roll. It's got to be 5 out of 5. Okay? There's no other way around it. God rolls 5 out of 5. All right.
Now, because of the snake draft, Jared, you got the next pick as well.
Like Fox, I had some things written down here. And before I get into some personal ones, I'm going to have to take one that's probably pretty global right now. And that is dying to no time to explain. I hate that weapon. If I see that weapon kill me in PvP, I am mad. I'm teabagging. I am doing whatever to that person that is using no time to explain. Can't. I hate that weapon.
That's what I like to hear. Get the bags out, son. Mine is dying to people in Crucible who use sunset weapons, such as Revoker, a Mountaintop. Either of those two, and even like the Recluse triggers me a little bit
Midnight
too. But yeah, well, I mean, if you're gonna use that in Crucible, it is what it is. But like Revoker, where you can get your ammo back off a miss, like, oh man. And then Mountaintop, like, I have nightmares of hearing that thing fire. So mine is people using sunset weapons in Crucible.
Okay. I'm glad that none of these are mine. They're all valid ones, but I'm like, what about them? I haven't been killed a lot by No Time to Explain. I guess I'm just that many brackets below Jared.
You just got good.
No, I'm not good enough to get to the squad that is running those. Gosh. I'm really, I didn't think about it as much as Ryan did, very, very clearly. I should have taken a couple from you, but see, how about Mang? That was actually one I thought of too. The God rolls one, Jared.
Oh yeah.
I think Jared's gonna steal a couple from me.
We know we mean you think alike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think yeah. I'm gonna phone this one in. The boss immunity phases specifically in like strikes. Like, I get it in like a dungeon when it's based off of like doing a mechanic. But when it's just in a strike just to stop you from destroying the boss immediately, come on. Like, if we can melt her, let us do it. If we can melt him, let us like go to town and absolutely destroy it, just like the servitor in the Prison of Elders. Let us just absolutely annihilate it.
Man, that's a good one. That one was actually on my list as well. So I had a feeling that would be a very, very popular one.
And then that means it's my turn again, so I get to think. Let's see here. Dang. Physics deaths? I feel like that's one that hits art and like mostly physics deaths. Like it is architects, but like Jared shatter diving on top of me and killing himself, like like it's not even an architect. Well, yeah, it helped you win on that one.
I kind of like that one myself, but you know.
But like, yeah, no, those stupid physics deaths. It just doesn't make it's horrible. I don't like them.
Yeah.
So next is my pick. So I've got like 3 or 4. So I gotta try to pick one that I don't think Jared's gonna pick. I'm gonna say the fact that we are still being held back by PS4 and Xbox Ones. So I wish that, and you can tell because you load into a strike and it takes like 35 extra seconds to land on the planet for a strike. And you pull it up and you look at the roster and you have the PlayStation symbol and the Xbox symbol beside them, and you know what they're running on. You land in and you're, got a good 75 steps on them before they even spawn in.
Yep.
And those, the fact that like our vault space is being held back because those things have 3 gigs of RAM, like 3 gigs of RAM. That's crazy. I'm sure all of us have at least 32, if not more. I'm pretty sure Chad has like 128 gigs of RAM in his PC. So just the fact that like those things are running on 3 is pretty wild.
All right. Next one for me is you throw your exotic on, you throw on your new artifact pieces, and you start making the build, and all of a sudden you have a stat that is 99 or 79. I was like, really? That's where we're at in this game, where that 9 can actually just be a 0. So that's what my third round pick is. As whatever you have.
The fact that there's no difference between like 70 and 79
yes.
on a stat.
Yep.
So yeah, stat tiers being in 10s.
Yes.
Instead of like being in like 2s or
5s.
Okay.
Even 5s. Because you can move at 5 with a mod.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Exactly. My last one's more personal than anything here, and that is whenever like we're loading up the corrupted Grandmaster, and Fox goes, "What are the champions?" The same they have always been. It's always overloaded, unstoppable for the corrupted, and they haven't changed. And I don't know how many times we have done Grandmasters for many seasons on end.
5 or 6, right?
We load one up, me and Chad sitting there talking about our loadouts and stuff, and Fox like, "What's the champions?" It's just like, oh, are you serious?
It's almost like he does it on purpose, just to keep the mood light. You would think that a guy would probably have a flowchart saved to his computer that shows what all the champions and what all the shields are on there, but it's just maybe he just asked just to spice it up a little bit. We got to do it for the content.
Yep.
My fourth pick here. This one is very personal to me, and I have to be very careful about how I say it because I do not mean anything remotely disrespectful. It's more about me than anybody else.
That is so disrespectful.
However, people that have characters and letters and symbols in their name that I am too stupid to understand. So whether these... I'm sure that you guys know exactly what I'm speaking of. You load in and they have a clan that looks like 2 slashes, an X, and a smiley face as their clan name, or they're they have like a sword or a thing that kind of looks like a sword and a couple brackets and stuff as their gamer tag, because I know that they are going to just stomp a hole in me in Crucible. That's what's about to happen. They're all going to be hunters. They're all going to jump around, and they're going to use the most meta stuff that there is in the game, and they are just going to dominate me. So that is my fourth pick.
A good fourth pick. I forgot the one that I had earlier, but this other one is definitely more in line with the way that Jared picked his last one. And it is watching our boy NotRyanFox get the raid exotic first again out of the whole group within the single digits. Not a fan.
Okay, good.
yeah.
So I had some honorable mentions I'd like to throw out here. I don't know if you guys had any.
Yeah.
Phalanx shield physics.
Yep.
When did it change to where Phalanx shields like automatic, like if they slam, it kills you and throws you like 100 miles an hour in a direction and you're dead? It didn't used to be like that, and I'm sure that this is not as intended currently.
I think it's whenever you're above 30 frames per second.
No.
It hits you like more than one time.
Yeah.
Within that slam and just launches you.
Yeah. Destiny Content Vault, not so much that like some of the things were taken away, such as like the Reckoning, but just the raids. The fact that we lost some raids kind of hurts. One that was a very close choice was people who farm trials non-flawless pull by resetting their cards, and you'll pull them up and they have like 214. They're like 214 and 2 on the weekend.
Yep.
People who lie in LFG about knowing what to do when they themselves don't know what to do.
That's a good one.
People who use the last word because you know that they're using a controller because that gun is a cheat gun. The way Gambit Primeval phase is currently, to where if an invader comes over, you basically have to do a whole nother like set piece of the guys. And last but not least of my things that I wanted to discuss was people who use the Zim 4 or the Cronus on console, that they're able to use mouse and keyboard, but it gives them the accuracy of the stickiness and accuracy of using a controller.
The other one I want to throw out there is kind of along the line of the Foxes. Whenever they have the letters that are English alphabet names, and they have super jittery connection, and they are like not even in the frame of view yet, and you get killed by them, and then all of a sudden they're kind of like way out into your field of view out of nowhere, and they just one of it on your screen. So that's one that kind of gets me going. And another one that I'm surprised Fox didn't throw out there either, but Peace of Mind. That pulse rifle, rapid fire frame pulse rifles should not flinch you as much as they do. You should just they should just not even hit you like they're shooting like little peas at you. These should take zero flinch from rapid fire frame pulse rifles. Can't stand those.
I totally agree with that. I mean, it should not flinch like that. It feels like you're getting hit by a hand cannon in a super too many shots.
Yep.
Like you're just bouncing everywhere. And Peace of Mind in particular is just horrific. It's just everywhere because you can craft it and build exactly the one you want, and it's just the right frame.
Yep.
And it's just savage. It's a crazy gun, and it shouldn't be. I think if you remove the flinch completely on it, it would still be good because it's a laser beam, but it wouldn't be as ridiculous.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything else they wanted to add for the Mount Rushmore?
The other honor I mentioned is getting stuck on a raid boss or a raid encounter that you have no reason being stuck on whatsoever because the raids have been out for months and I just quit. I'm out. So you all have seen it. It's happened too many times already. And I don't have. Hopefully, it never happens again. But it's always lingering there in the background.
Yeah. Another one I just thought of, which is just this just turned into like a slam fest against Destiny.
Yeah.
What about this is one that I wish I would have thought of before just now. People that say, I don't want to use Discord chat, I just want to use game chat or Xbox chat.
Oh.
Like I'd rather stick a fork in my ears and pull everything out than go through that.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're through honorable mentions now, Fox. So
all right. So that is the end of the show this week. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Make sure you subscribe and unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I know Jared said that you really just have to do it once because I listened to the post show that came out last week with the episode. And if you haven't, you should. It's definitely worth it. If I were you, I'd watch it on YouTube. Did the post show make it to YouTube, Jared? Or was it just in the
majority of it? Majority of it.
Yeah, most of it did. Yeah.
Yeah. So last week was a funny episode. I may or may not have fell asleep during the war section.
Oh yeah.
Even I am a father of two, so whenever we get a minute to take a nap, we get that in.
No, so, baby, it was a smooth jazz.
I'm gonna let these two guys sign off, and yeah, you guys go ahead.
All right. I'm already thinking about Arc 3.0, and there's an Arc mod where when you finish an enemy, you get an Arc well. You get two of them actually, and that is going to be in so many meta videos next season about people making Arc videos. Just get ready. As across, all them guys, they're going to be putting it in every single Arc build that you're going to see coming out there because it's free. It doesn't take your super away, like any percentage of your super down for doing that finisher. It's going to be a lot. So just get prepared for that.
Yeah, a little bit on that same vein, but I had a build with that mod setup with Severance Enclosure on Titans, which means I can finish somebody in a group, and then if something else hits me, I just detonate. So I'd finish, create wells, and then detonate and save myself and give myself breathing room. It was a fun build. But next week we're going to finish off the Voices on the Haunted lore book, and then we're going to start digging into some speculation for the next season. We talked about it a little bit last season, but we're gonna pull in some more sources, and because we're moving in and see what we can do.
Go Cat.